ironically, Santos just won the race before the Preakness, which was occurring behind us a moment ago. Well, he, of course, might be the real victim in this whole episode. And earlier today, he talked with Bob Costas.
You've been completely exonerated, but the retraction is never quite as loud or as prominent as the accusation. Do you feel that your reputation has been hurt in the end?
Oh, definitely it's been hurt. Until yesterday, I was riding in New York Thursday and came to here to Pimlico to ride some races, and you hear through the crowd the people screaming at you, "Where's the machine? Are you carrying your machine?" And that's not good for any jockey. That's your reputation on the line, and even though I don't show him, but back in my mind, still these people, how they can thinking about that.
What about your children? I understand that they've been taunted at school.
Yeah, definitely. The teacher in the school where they're going in Florida, they was very nice. They told us to take the kids away for a week until this mess happened. And it was very funny. My 7-year-old Selena, he was watching the news on Sunday night, and she told Mommy, I cannot sleep. And I say, why? Well, I was watching my daddy on TV all the time. I never thought my daddy was that bad. But and then we explained to the kid what was happening, and everything was clear. And now they're happy over here to share with me and the Preakness.
You said, though, you're not contemplating legal action.
Well, I don't have no comments about that yet.
So it's possible?
But you never know.
One last comment on the race itself. Funny side breaks from the 9th post. Outside posts have not generally done well at Pimlico. Are you concerned?
I think the post is pretty good for me. My horse have a good tactical speed, and I think the 3-path is very good right now, and they probably want to be 1 or 2 horses in front of me. If nobody go, believe me, I can be in the lead too.
Good luck today, Jose.
I thank you very much.
Thinking about Jose and the controversy, what about his family? Well, his wife right now is with Kenny Rice, and I think about that picture of young Jose Jr., 8 years old, in ecstasy in the winner's circle at the Derby. What about the damage done to his family? There's Jose with his wife, Rita, his son, Jose Jr., and as I said, Kenny Rice is with his wife, Rita, right now. Kenny?
Thank you, Tom. Jose Jr. has just left us for a moment to join his dad in the winner's circle right now, but with me is Mrs. Jose Santos, Rita Santos, and the children, Nadia, Savannah, and Selena. Rita, a professional athlete's wife, has to learn that there's going to be cheers and there's going to be jeers, but I don't know if anything prepares you for what you had to go through in the last week or so. What's the toll been on you and the kids especially?
Well, I think the children handled it beautifully up until the last day. We kind of kept it from Selena a bit, but she wound up, unfortunately, catching a glimpse of Daddy on TV. But, it gives you, it makes you appreciate your good times, that's for sure.
As far as your, you've heard cheers for his victories and food and second guess when he didn't win. But for yourself, when it gets into a situation like that, did you guys sit down and have any kind of heart-to-hearts about how to get through this all and handle it with the dignity that you did?
Not really. The first day, we didn't really think it was going to turn into such a fiasco as it did. When I went to the races with the children to catch the stake race, we decided, at that moment, I thought, let me get these kids out of here. On Sunday, we did have a little bit. That's when I could see it was taking its toll on Jose, because we clearly could see that he hadn't done anything wrong. We just were wishing that it would just go away so we could enjoy the Derby. A heart-to-heart, I knew he hadn't done anything wrong, so it was just a matter of getting through it.
All right, Rita, thank you very much for your time. Girls, thank you. Good luck today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rita and the family. And again, Jose Jr. wanted me to pass this along to Bob and Mike. He said, Tom, that he always tells his dad a horse to watch for. He's picking funny. He said, watch for Senior Swinger today, Dad. That was his instructions to Jose Sr. Back to you.
All right, Kenny. And there is Jose on Windsor Castle. He just won the William Donald Schaefer Handicap, the race before the Preakness here at Pimlico. Joined now by Charles C. Canty. And Charles, just to wrap up this whole sorry incident, the big question, I guess, the big picture is, was racing damaged by the whole episode?
Well, of course, Tom, anytime you attack the integrity of one aspect of the sport, you malign the whole industry, and then the issue becomes public confidence. The pony in the manure of this situation is the fact that the quick action of the Kentucky stewards, the thorough investigation, brought the issue to a quick close. It's just too bad that the media involved didn't take the same steps before going public.
Right. Well, controversy is behind us. We're back to racing. The 128th running of the Preakness Stakes at Pimlico. It'll be the next race on the card. The 128th running of the Preakness Stakes is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. By Franklin Templeton, gain from our perspective. And by Buick, proud sponsor of today's broadcast of the Visa Triple Crown. In Maryland, but those will do a look at the Pimlico stands from the infield. Many of the horses will be saddled for the Preakness over on that turf course, and they'll be leaving from this, the stakes barn, where before the big stakes races, all the horses are stabled in one barn, although this year there are some exceptions with horses training at other Maryland areas. And as we check the odds, Scrimshaw and Senior Swinger, the entries, 7-2, Cherokee's Boy, local horse, 7-1, Fufa's Warrior, a long shot, Kissin' Saint at 8-1. And 10 cents a shine, 6-1. Midway Road is 19. Peace Rules 3-1. New York Hero 15-1. And Funny Side currently the 5-2 betting favorite. And if you would like to join us in picking a winner at the Preakness Stakes, you can log on to NBCSports.com and cast your vote for who you think will win the race and compare the results with Mike and Bob. And Peace Rules now has a slight edge on Funny Side in our Cyber Capper voting, with Scrimshaw coming in third. Well, the more you think back to the victory by Funny Side at Churchill Downs, the more improbable it seems. Right, Bob Newmeyer?
You know, Tom, and it's even more improbable than the fact that he was the first New York bred and the first gelding since 1929. No, there are more reasons than that. Imagine this, he had not won a race, period, since October of his 2-year-old season. And even the races that he won were against restricted New York breds. He had not won any race in open company. He had never won over a mile, let alone the 1.25 miles of the Kentucky Derby. And then you get to the connections like Jose Santos, who had never won a Derby. He had 16 years of drought before his first mount in 1987. And then, of course, trainer Barclay Taggart never even started a Derby winner. His last graded stakes win on dirt at Philly Park some 5.5 years ago. You mix up all those ingredients, you throw them in a salad bowl, and what comes out? A nice, juicy 12 or 13-1 shot. Tom, back to you.
All right, Bob and Charles, I don't know how many people in the 2 weeks since the Derby have said it's such a shame that Funny Side is a gelding.
Well, it is a shame, but he would never have reached his full racing potential if he hadn't been gelded. There are 3 primary reasons that we geld horses, and one of them, in Funny Side's case, he has a problem with his physical development. It was causing him discomfort. In the case of the immortal geldings, John, Henry, and Forgo, they were just too mean and aggressive to handle. And then sometimes horses are heavy and growthy, and they're not going to stay sound without being gelded. But it's a judgment call in each case. The late great breeder Alfred Vanderbilt, who raced the legendary Native Dancer, he said, if I had gelded every horse I ever owned, I would have only made one mistake.
And one positive thing is he won't be retiring to stud. We'll be able to see him race for many years around America. Well, how many of us have dreamed of owning our own sports franchise? Football or basketball team would seem to be out of reach, but one way to be a pro sports owner is to buy a racehorse. That's the bright idea that occurred to 6 average working guys, friends since high school, from upstate New York.
We were together for our annual Memorial Day get-together, popping a couple of caps back and forth, and some fool said, hey, let's get into thoroughbred horse racing.
6 lifelong friends with one crazy idea: to invest $5,000 of their hard-earned dollars into a horse they could get together and watch on the weekends. 8 years and 8 horses later, these everyday working guys could never have imagined where their new hobby would take them.
Trying to pull off the upset here. 12-1 coming down to the line, and the gutsy gelding Funny Side has won the 129th Kentucky Derby. And the first New York bred in history has won the Kentucky Derby. The odds were
Monday morning, I'm pulling out of my driveway, and JP's pulling out of his, and We pass each other, and he rolls down his window, and I roll down mine, and I go, so, JP, what'd you do this weekend? He said,
I said, I tried to do some gardening, but we were a little busy.
And I told him I tried to mow my lawn, too, but I didn't have quite the time.
And then we went on to work, because that's what we do.
We're just so proud to be here to represent New York and appreciate the reception we've had today.
We met with the governor and had some pictures, and all of that is overwhelming to us.
Congratulations again.
I've signed a couple of autographs. I feel important now. I mean, I've never signed an autograph in my life.
I'm still amazed that someone from a particular paper wants to talk to me. Sports Illustrated wants to talk to J.P. Constance. Hello.
I don't think St. Harbor will ever be the same again. I think that all of us, have just been blessed with an experience that is incomparable. We can now say that, we own the horse that won Kentucky Derby 129 in May 3rd, 2003. It sounds wonderful.
And a look at Jose Santos live in the jockey's room, just watching that feature on Funny Side's owners. And earlier today, the owners arrived here at Pimlico, yes, in a big yellow school bus. 2 weeks ago at the Derby, they wanted to go in a party bus. A big fancy one was too expensive, so they rented a school bus, and they don't want to mess with success, arriving at the clubhouse at Pimlico for the Preakness in a school bus and hoping to take the second jewel in the Triple Crown. Welcome back to Pimlico. That's the stakes barn. Activity picking up there. Soon the horses will begin their walk over to be saddled for the Preakness. And by now the horses know something special is going on. And the jockeys weighing out prior to they hold their tack. And the weight will be okayed. And they will soon join the trainers in the paddock for their final instructions. As we recheck the odds, the entry's 7-2. Cherokee's Boy at 7. Kissin' Saint at 8-1. Remember a couple of years ago, Point Given and Monarchos both were 230-1. Peace Rules and Funny Side both at 5-2 at the moment. Well, Gary Stevens will be riding in the Preakness today, looking for another Preakness victory aboard Scrimshaw, but his fame is set to take a giant leap later this summer in the movie Seabiscuit, based on Laura Hillenbrand's bestseller. In the movie, Stevens plays jockey George Wolfe. One of the key moments in Seabiscuit's career occurred right here at Pimlico, the celebrated match race with Triple Crown winner War Admiral in 1938.
Everyone in the country stopped what they were doing to listen to this 2-minute race.
As an entire nation crowds its radios, here was the race of the century, the answer to America's first.
There were 150,000 people crammed into this track, all around this one race of 2 horses.
Both horses are jockeyed into position for the walk-up start.
People stopped. The country stopped.
And they're off. Neck and neck for the mile.
Had this rich Eastern blue blood horse in War Admiral, invincible, just perfect and gifted.
And it's here that the Admiral makes his bid.
Then you had this knobby-kneed underdog.
Seabiscuit hangs right on.
He lost more races than he had ever won.
Seabiscuit is going away.
And it was a total rags to riches story.
And action. And away they go.
What we want to do in the movie is put you in the race and show you a side of horse racing no one has ever seen.
Oh yeah, you are going to see some rough riding in some of these races. People are going to feel that they're actually in the race. They're going to get everything but dirt kicked in their face.
We were actually able to get the camera closer than the camera's ever been to a horse race. We had what's called a technocrane, which is a telescoping crane arm that extends 30 feet out over the car and can get the camera right next to a jockey, next to a racehorse.
When you're going 44 miles an hour with camera booms 8 inches from your face, there's not a lot of room for error.
We used a mechanical force just to put them in the exact right position. We called it the SSC biscuit. We were basically this armada flying down the racetrack.
How far do you want me to take him?
Till he stops.
Till he stops.
It's not just about horse racing. It's not just a sports movie. It's about these characters. They come from being way down and become heroes. Red Pollard, the jockey, is played by Tobey Maguire.
Red Pollard was a 15-year-old boy who was abandoned at a racetrack. He was too tall to be a jockey, but it was the only thing he was good at. So he led a life of absolute deprivation. He starved himself in order to make the weight to ride.
Kind of small, isn't he? Gonna look a lot smaller in a second, Georgie.
Charles Howard is played by Jeff Bridges. He's the entrepreneur, the owner of the horse.
This isn't the finish line, my friends. The future's the finish line, and Seabiscuit is just the horse to get us there.
Chris Cooper plays Tom Smith. He was a cowboy who could look at a horse and understand him completely.
Jesus Christ, the horse is nuts.
And he found something special, almost a weird kindred spirit in Seabiscuit.
You don't throw a whole life away just cause it's banged up a little.
This story is so compelling and so heartwarming that it's going to be a huge shot in the arm for racing.
To me, this is like sitting on a Kentucky Derby winner, and all you can do is sit there with a smug smile on your face and wait.
All the jockeys gathered around the television to see Gary Stevens. And all the movie people were high in their praise of Gary and his acting ability, saying seriously, he has a future in movies if he wants to retire from the saddle. He'll be on Scrimshaw in the Preakness. And you know, the book Seabiscuit captured the imagination of the public, and the movie opening in July figures to do the same. In fact, everyone involved in thoroughbred racing and breeding is hoping that the movie will give their sport a giant boost. Well, right now, Funny Side and Peace Rules are co-favorites. As we take a look, 5-2 on those two. Peace Rules and Funny Side, 5-2 favorites for the Preakness Stakes. Soon they'll begin their walkover from the stakes barn to be saddled. There's Barkley Tagg. Back at Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore before the Preakness, that's Barkley Tagg, the trainer of Funny Side. And there is the horse, Funny Side, behind him. Barkley's saying to keep him walking. It looks like Barkley might need a little walking. He looks as anxious as the horse. There's Robin Smullen, his assistant, and his girlfriend. They will be coming over with Funny Side, sharing a light moment there. And, of course, Barkley used to be stabled here at Pimlico in Maryland, based in Maryland until a few years ago, and watched the Preakness from various spots around the track, even from the roof of the barn one time. Now he'll saddle the Derby winner in the Preakness. And of course, at the Derby, we were talking all about Bobby Frankel and his quest to win his first Triple Crown race. He had Empire Maker, and he had, of course, Peace Rules. Only Peace Rules today. Kenny Rice is back at the Frankel location.
Thanks, Tom. I think every successful trainer marches a bit to their own drummer. In Bobby Frankel's case, he's a little bit Gene Krupa, Buddy Rich, and Ringo Starr. He's over here in Barn A. That's 4 barns away from the stakes barn and just where he wants to be with his Kentucky Derby third-place finisher, Peace Rules. He galloped Peace Rules on Wednesday at Belmont in New York and then brought him here to Pimlico on Thursday. He's taken him out to the track just one time. That was to just stretch his legs a little bit with the trot. Now, I spoke with him just a little while ago and asked him, was there any concern about not training over this track, getting ready for the race? And he told me, and I quote, if they don't like the track, they're not going to like it no matter how many times they train over it. So sometimes it's best to surprise them. He figures that Peace Rules will get over there and run his kind of race, and he does think he does have the fastest horse in this race. If he runs that kind of race, he feels very comfortable about it. Plus the fact that Peace Rules will be making his 10th career start on his 8th different track. And in all those starts, only one time has he been worse than third. I also asked Bobby about Empire Maker. He said all systems are go. He will see us at the Belmont Stakes with Empire Maker. And had Empire Maker won the Derby, of course, he would be here running in the Preakness today, but Peace Rules would not. Frankel wants to try to keep them separate as much as he can until later on in the season. So Frankel will begin the walkover soon, and he is going to saddle Peace Rules inside in the inside paddock here at Pimlico. If Peace Rules wins today, he'll become the first horse to finish third in the Kentucky Derby and then win the Preakness since Timber Country back in 1995. Tom?
All right, and there's Edgar Prado, Kenny, who will be riding Peace Rules a little later today, the former champion rider in Maryland. He knows his way around this track very well. And Chelsea, speaking of Bobby Frankel and Empire Maker, were you surprised that he chose not to run him in the Preakness?
Well, no, not actually. After he was beaten in the Kentucky Derby, I think Bobby wanted to take him home, regroup him. Apparently the bruise was not an issue. He came out of the Kentucky Derby in good shape with his feet, but apparently he lightened up a little bit. Bobby wants some time to let him pump back up, and he'll just point him right for the 1.5-mile Belmont
He
Stakes.
should love the 1.5 miles of the Belmont. Of course, one of the intriguing aspects of this race is the fact that the entry is Bob Baffert and Wayne Lucas. What about our handicappers? What do you think of that, guys?
Well, attention bargain shoppers. 2 for the price of 1. Scrimshaw and Senior Swinger. Baffert and Lucas, this is like the Yankees and the Red Sox playing together. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, these guys are rivals, Mike Battaglia, and they're hooking up today.
But it is unbelievable that between them, they've won 7 out of the last 9 runnings of the Preakness and 9 overall. So you're getting 2 heavy hitters with this entry.
And what's interesting here, in a little bit of racing history, that there's precedent for this move involving a very big name horse.
Well, I asked Bob and Wayne, when was the first time that you ran an entry? We had to go back to 1996 in a maiden race at Del Mar. And Lucas had what they thought was the better of the 2, Gold Tribute, while Baffert saddled a little gray colt by the name of Silver Charm. And, of course, Silver Charm wins that maiden race, goes on to greatness, of course, winning the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness.
Yeah, the Silver Charm. And, of course, they also have Pat Day and Stevens going for them. This is a terrific entry. But the fact is, Mike,
can either one of them run?
Getting a lot of action on the board, but they've got to turn 9 or 10 lengths around to compete with the 2 favorites.
I really do think both of them could run better, but as you said, you're probably getting a lot shorter price because of the Baffert-Lucas connection.
Tom?
All right, guys, and of course, Pat Day will be aboard Senior Swinger. He's won 5 Preakness in the colors of Bob and Beverly Lewis already. That green and yellow from their Oregon days. Getting ready for the Preakness from Baltimore. The 128th running of the Preakness Stakes is brought to you by Visa, proud sponsor of the Visa Triple Crown. Gary Stevens just weighing out. Here's Jose Santos. All the horses must carry 126 pounds. They put lead in a saddle pad, a lead pad under the saddle in order to bring them up to that weight. George Chavez weighing out prior to the Preakness Stakes. And right now, Peace Rules and Funny Side are co-favorites. Ramon Dominguez and Funny Side is starting the way over. There's Funny Side. He and Peace Rules both at 5-2, but actually Peace Rules slightly favored in money bet. And Bobby Frankel, of course, his Peace Rules. He's had a runner favored in both the Derby and the Preakness with 2 different horses. That's pretty unusual. And Frankel, Bob Neumeyer's with him right now, Bobby Frankel.
Bobby, most trainers would kill to run 2-3 in the Kentucky Derby, but with all the publicity around Empire Maker, was it a disappointing day for you?
Well, not really. I won some nice races. I was just glad to get through the day without any injuries or anything like that. And they came out of the race well. Of course, obviously, I would have loved to win it. But as long as the horses came back good, we'll get another day.
All right, what led you to the decision of running Peace Rules here today and leaving Empire Maker in New York for the Belmont?
Well, I think Empire Maker is going to be a better mile and a half horse than Peace Rules. And this race will suit Peace Rules good. And I think give it a little more time to Empire Maker.
All right, if you win today, would you consider running Peace Rules against Empire Maker in the Belmont?
No. I made my mind up, and I still got to work it out. Empire Maker, I run the Belmont.
There you have it, Bobby Frankel, wheel saddle. Peace Rules still looking for that elusive first Triple Crown win. Let's go to Tom here.
All right, Bob, and there's Funny Side, the Derby winner. Robin Smullen and the groom bringing him over, coming over to be saddled for the Preakness.
His behavior en route to the paddock was a big issue, and he went to pieces a little bit when he got near the grandstand and all the people. Today, obviously, he's not going to see that many people until he gets almost to the saddling area. He's obviously very calm and relaxed now, but it bears watching as he goes.
They say normally Funny Side, nothing bothers him, but you're right, going to the Derby, it was kind of a dangerous situation. There's Kissin' Saint beginning his trip over, and Kenny Rice is with Kissin' Saint's trainer, Lisa Lewis.
All right, Tom, Kissin Saint is the Florida bred. The trainer, Lisa Lewis, is the Maryland bred here. Lisa, congratulations on your first Triple Crown race, and you're doing it in your hometown. You went to high school about 5 minutes away from here. First time you came to a track was Pimlico. What's this experience been like for you to be back home and be in the Preakness?
Well, I'll tell you in a few minutes how good, if it's good or bad. No, we've had a really great time. The horse has been doing really well, and we're happy to be here. It's fun.
As far as the Wood Memorial, you run third in that race. Kissin Saint's third behind two horses named Empire Maker and Funny Side. I would imagine, except for the trainers that were actually in Louisville 2 weeks ago, you probably watched the Derby as closely as anybody, didn't you?
Yeah, we were very excited. You know, we thought both horses ran good, and it just, you know, gave credentials to our horse, and even horses behind him. The horse of Alan Jerkins, Spite the Devil, came back and won the Withers, and so it was a key race.
Well, your mom ran in this race. She trained, as well as your dad, and your mom had a Preakness starter 10 years ago, I believe.
Yeah, it was about 10 years ago, and hopefully I can make him proud today.
Okay, good luck to you, Lisa Lewis. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Kenny, and one of the local jockeys that'll be riding today is young Ryan Fogelsonger, not yet 21 years old. He was a spectator at the Preakness a year ago. Now he is riding in the race aboard Cherokee's Boy, the Maryland-owned, trained, and ridden by a young man who was a cross-country star in high school and now based in Maryland, and won an Eclipse Award last year as the top apprentice in the country. Well, Maryland racing and breeding has a long and proud history, the home of Northern Dancer, and before him, Native Dancer, whose name appears in the pedigree of all 16 horses that raced in the Derby this year. Many popular horses have raced on the track in front of these old stands, but few with the charisma of that flashy gray in the early 50s, the subject of our Buick Preakness moment. 50 years ago, after Native Dancer lost the Kentucky Derby by a head to Dark Star, he came to the Preakness ready to avenge that defeat. The Gray Ghost was the perfect shade for black and white television and became a TV star. Owned by Alfred Vanderbilt, Native Dancer did come back in the Preakness and never lost again, winning 21 of 22 career races. As a sire, he stood here in Maryland and is buried 15 miles from Pimlico on Sagamore Farm. Welcome back to Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, home of the 128th running of the Preakness Stakes. That's the indoor saddling paddock at Pimlico. Peace Rules number 7 walking by our picture there now, and there's Funny Side right behind him, the two favorites. And here at the Preakness you have the option of saddling either indoors or out on the turf course. Scrimshaw and Senior Swinger, the Lucas Baffert entry 4-1. Cherokee's Boy at 8-1. Fufa's Warrior 20-1. Kissin Saint is at 9-1. 10 Cents a Shine 7-1. Midway Road 18-1. Peace Rules at 5-2. New York Hero 16, and Funny Side at 5-2. Last time we checked, a few more dollars had been bet on Peace Rules, making him the actual favorite. And there's a look at Kissin Saint, and now the jockeys. There's Pat Day in the doorway. Jose Santos right behind him. The jockeys have been ordered to leave the jockeys room. They'll go out to meet with the trainers, some inside and some out on the turf course. On this day of inclement weather, the track's still good. It'll be only the 8th time in 50 years that the Preakness has not been run on a fast track. Jockey's room is just over the finish line, just actually right behind us here at Pimlico. And they walk down the stairs, and as we said, some will go inside, some outside. Pat Day is headed inside, I think, because I think I saw Bob Baffert inside with the Senior Swinger. And we know both Peace Rules and Funny Side were inside last time we saw. There's a look at Peace Rules number 7 and Funny Side number 9 right behind him. It's kind of